Today we will do a very short but packed episode. I will be talking about streams, StreamBuilder, and I will cover the so-called BLoC pattern or business logic component, which is just a fancy name for something very, very simple. Our objective today is to develop the contacts section of our application. So this is how it looks like right now. And when I switch and I click again, you will see that the list of users appears with some delay. Notice that whenever I change, it's not only the list, but also the counter, which increments each time a new user is available or appears, is appended to the list. Before we start, let's talk about streams. What is stream? Stream is a series of things, a sequence of things, and it can be thought of as items on a conveyor belt. So we talked about a conveyor belt before. This is an example of a conveyor belt. The notion of a conveyor belt helps us to simplify the way how we think about managing data, because conveyor belt is a simple structure. You put something on one side of a conveyor belt and it arrives to the other side. And when you are at the arrival point, you can always take one element. You can consume or deal with just one element. So it greatly simplifies how you approach the data management. Streams are created to simplify things. They are not to make it more difficult. And funny enough, streams are very well adapted to UIs. And in this episode, I will try to convince you, or I will try to clarify why streams are so beneficial when dealing with UIs. Before we start, I would like you to forget everything you know about UIs, and I would like you to accept the following notion of UI. Let's imagine that your UI has small holes, and in the sense that you puncture your UI, you do the small holes in your UI in places where there is data that's being displayed, and this data, the data that changes over time. So for example, a list of users is a good candidate for that, because this list can grow or shrink. Another puncture, another small hole is this counter over here, because it can increment or decrement. So every place in the application that changes over time is a small hole. For example, this title isn't a hole because it's always the same. So let's think about the UIs in this way. And the second thing is that those small holes are filled with streams. This is the place where we will be putting streams. If you look at your screen, from the moment you launched your application to the moment you close the application, you are always seeing the current state, the current view. So for example, you see the list of users, which consists of 4 elements, and you see the number 4. But at any time, if something happens, there is a network request or you do something, this situation can change. And for example, the list can become bigger or smaller, the counter can increment or decrement, and then there's a new situation. So we could say that your application evolves through time, in the sense that at the beginning, when it's launched, is different than at the end. It could be the same, or it could be the same all the time, but it would mean that you haven't done anything, you haven't interacted with your application. If you interact with your application, it will certainly change, it will evolve. And it means that the data that is presented in your application evolves through time in response to your actions. And this is somehow similar to streams, because streams are values or things rather that evolve through time as well. And that's the reason why putting those two together is a good idea, because they fit nicely. In a sense, we could say that your UI, your current screen, is consuming streams, taking the most recent values to display you the current situation on your screen. And if something happens underneath, either in response to your action, or, for example, there is a network request or something else which is not related to you, the screen is fueled by the things that are carried through those streams. And each stream corresponds to each place where we identified that there should be a small hole. I mean, those things that change. Yeah, so I hope it's clear. I think this will become more and more clear as we go in the future episodes. For now, I would like you to just have this basic intuition about what we are going to do, and when I start coding, you will see exactly what I mean. For now, just think about streams as evolution. And remember that this is the series of things, and UI is always concerned with the most recent thing that arrived from those streams. Okay, let's switch back to the code and let's see how it's done. We are now at the point from the last episode. We have this contact screen which is empty, with just the title, or just the string of characters being displayed in the center. And let's change that. Let's use streams to display a list of users and add a counter in the corner. So let me start by going to the screen, and we have this widget over here which is responsible for displaying this screen. And now let me just wrap this center, which displays the text, which is this part over here. Let me wrap this widget with a StreamBuilder. I will remove the stream property for now. Let's save it. And it didn't change anything. But now this part of the UI is wrapped with a StreamBuilder. And StreamBuilder is this widget that will rebuild everything beneath. So everything starting from this point, whenever something changes in a stream that is provided to this StreamBuilder. So we need a stream. So let me go ahead and create a class, and I will call this class Contact Manager. So this is our BLoC, business logic component. But I don't really like the name BLoC. I prefer the name Manager. I hope Flutter team will forgive me for that. And here we will define our first stream. So Manager is this entity that is responsible for providing data to our view. It will hold in a hand all the changes, and it will notify the view that something new arrived by using streams. So let's see, maybe it's not very clear, but let's start coding this so it will become clearer. So we need a stream here. So I will create a stream, and this will be a stream of lists of strings, and I will explain in a bit why is that. And let me call that contact list now. And this will be a function, or not really a function, but so we are using this syntax async star. This syntax allows us to just create the stream out of thin air, we could say. And here, the other part we need is a list. I will create a global, and let me call that contacts, and this will be a list of strings and here let's use the for loop, which will iterate over our global list, and inside we will yield a sublist like so. So yield is this keyword that provides an element to the stream. So each time we iterate, we will put this, the result of this expression to the stream, and this will be always a list of strings. So the first thing that will be put will be a sublist from 0 to 0, which will be an empty list. The second thing that will be put on our first stream will be a list of just one element, user 1. Then it will be a list of 2 elements. Then it will be a list of 3 elements, and finally a list of 4 elements. And it's very important to understand that when we want to display a list of elements, but we don't want to create a stream of strings, which means that we don't want to have a stream where each thing in the stream is just a one row of our list. We want to provide our UI with everything that's needed to display that screen from the beginning to the end, which means that if the UI wants to display a list of 3 elements, manager is responsible to provide those 3 elements. That's a pretty important point. So manager uses the stream to provide the UI with like the total amount of data that's needed to display it on the screen. It's everything. And that's the reason this is the list of strings that's being put as a whole on our stream and not the single elements. And yield is this keyword that it puts something on the stream. On this stream we are returning. So this construct creates a stream, and here we just say that each time we iterate, we put something on the stream. And we will add another thing here. Before we put something on the stream, we will use something we used before, which is future delayed, and we will just wait 2 seconds. So this stream will wait 2 seconds. It will put the first thing on the stream, then it will wait 2 seconds, and it will put another thing on the stream, etc., till the list, our global, is exhausted. Okay, so we have our first stream, and now let's use it. So I'm going back here to the StreamBuilder, and we need to say that this StreamBuilder is concerned with list of strings. The stream comes from manager, which is not defined yet, so we will just define it here. Contact manager. Let's import that. Okay, I have a mistake. Contact list now. Okay, string. So we hooked up our stream to the StreamBuilder from the manager, and now the stream is connected. The data is being added each 2 seconds, but we don't do anything in response to that because we always display the same thing. Something happens, but it's just not visible because we need to read the data from that stream over here. And we do that via snapshot variable that is provided through Builder. So this variable holds the current element or current thing that's being read from the stream we hooked over here. Let's take it. So this will be a list, because remember, the stream carries lists of strings. And let's call it contacts, snapshot, data. We read the current list here, and now here, let's use list view, separated as before, to display the contacts. So item count would be contacts length, and we also need item builder, and let's return just text for now. And finally, we need a separator. We don't need those annotations. This will be a divider, so it's a little bit prettier. Okay, so as you can see, it displays 4 elements, and now when I refreshed, you see that each 2 seconds something happens. So we just need to display the actual value that's being read from the stream. So we need to, let's use list tile, so we have the proper padding, and here we had title, I believe, yeah, and the text would be contacts index. This will be our value. Yeah, so now we get the proper data from the stream. So that's good. And as I said at the beginning, this part over here, in this case body, is a small puncture, a small hole, which is hooked to our data, which changes by using StreamBuilder. So StreamBuilder is this thing that connects the stream with the UI by asking for help manager, we could say. And so that's the first thing, that's the first hole that we are filling. And there is another hole we could fill, or rather connect to a stream, which is we can define a counter. So here in the up bar, we can use actions, and we can use chip. And let's say, yeah, label. So first of all, let's display something. So we know it works. Yeah, so it works. And let's change the color. Okay, let's add some padding. Padding, edge, inset. Let's use only, and this is right. Okay, let's change the text. So this is text style, colors white, and let's do font weight bold. Okay, so now it's just 1. So again, this is the place that needs to be reactive, or needs to respond, needs to be rebuilt each time something changes with our data. So we need to hook it up using StreamBuilder. So I will just wrap this text in a StreamBuilder, and in this case we want to have a stream of integers, so a stream of counters that change. So stream, we will fill that later. If I save, nothing should happen. It still works as before, and now we need to create that stream. So let's go back, and we need to have the second stream, a stream of integers. Let's call that contact counter. But how we will know that, how we can know the current counter? We need to somehow track what happens here in this stream. So by using streams, one stream can subscribe, can listen to the other stream and do something in response to that. So in our case, this is what we need, because this stream, the counter, needs to listen to this stream, count the elements, the current number of elements, the elements at the current moment, and it needs to return that value. So in order to do that, we need to define a controller, a string controller of integers, and let's call it counter with the underscore, and let's create an instance of that. I need to import Dart async, and now in our stream we can access the stream of the controller by just saying counter controller.stream. So the final thing is to create a constructor here, and we need to take our first stream, which is contact lists now, and we need to listen to that. And if we listen, we'll be getting a list of strings. So we are getting this list here as a first parameter, and now we need to count those elements. So we will use list length, and we need to put this value on the other stream, and we are doing that by using the controller. So the controller allows us to access the other stream. So in our case, this will be counter. It should be contact counter. So contact counter is the controller, and it has a method called add, which adds something to the stream, and then we can access this stream from that controller by using .stream on the controller instance. To recap, we are listening to the first stream. So the first stream carries on, and we listen to that. And each time something happens in that stream, we listen to that. We get the current value, the value now of that stream. We count those elements, and we put the value, which is the number of elements, the counter of contacts, on the second stream we defined here, and we do that via stream controller. This is the way of accessing the streams in Dart, let's say. Small mistake. So we have the second stream over here, and we can now use it. So let's go back to our screen. This is our puncture here. So we need to hook up the stream. So I'm using the stream property. And again, I'm saying manager, but this time contact counter. So again, the data that comes from the stream is available in the builder method through snapshot variable. So I can just read this variable, and it's data. So I'm using this operator. If the data is not yet available, it will be 0. And because this is integer, I need to convert it to string. Let's see if it works. It does. Perfect. That's pretty much it. Today we covered a lot of ground, so I hope despite that it was clear enough. In the future episodes we will improve that, and I will dive deeper into how streams work and what we can do with them. Stay tuned. See you next time.